Okay, by popular demand, I'm going to remake my video for speed trial number 2. So let's get started. This will teach you how to do all of the requirements of the second speed trial in our 386 class. We need to start by getting our data. So let's go to the raw data. Okay, and the trick here, I'm going to select it, Control A, and we're going to bring it in, not to Excel, but to a word processing sheet here. So let me take my title out, and we're going to paste, not large, oh heavens. Here we go. So now we have our data in a word processor where it's easier to do the kinds of find and replace operations that we need to do here. So it looks like we have to take that Shift 2 ampersand there, replace it with an A. Good, that one worked. It also looks like we have that tilde character just to the left of the 1 key on your keyboard, taking double zeros out of dates. Alright. The last one is a formatting character. You can see that there's these extra spaces. In a word processor, particularly Word, you can show those marks and you can take care of them. I just deleted the one that was in large type. So I have these two paragraph marks right next to each other, and that creates the space that I'm trying to get rid of. So what I'm going to do is open the placement, and I'm going to go to Special. Here are all the names of those formatting characters that you might encounter. So we want paragraph mark. We want to look for 2 of them and replace the 2 with 1 of them. Alright, this looks to be a clean set of data. So now I'm going to Control A. Okay, I've got this data and I'm going to put it into a spreadsheet. Now, this is not my data, so I'm going to try again to get out of that. I want my spreadsheet data here. So this is what I want. So if I take Control A, Control A is not working here, so I'm just going to do it the long way because I think the clipboard's full. Alright, so now I'm going to copy it, and let's see if it works this time. It does. Okay. For some reason Control A was fighting me. So now we have a vertical listing of information, and the fields that I want are precisely 5 lines apart. Bring A out here. This is a birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another birthday. Likewise with the name and the other parts. So in order to get this to come out to a how do I put this? 1 line per record. Okay, this would be a record, all 5 of those, and the fields lined up. I'm going to use a macro. So if you have Developer open, you'll be able to go straight to your macros. If you don't, go to your File, Options, make sure you can see it, and Customize Ribbon. And there's Developer. It's been checked in mine, but sometimes you'll get a computer where that's not checked. So once you have it ready to go, let's make sure we're starting at A1. Let's make sure we're using relative references, because each time we put a line of data, we want to go down 1 row. So that will be important. Okay, so let's start recording. We'll just call it, if we were going to save it for anything, we could call it something like clean data and give it a shortcut, say Shift P, so it doesn't conflict with anything. And this macro takes vertical data and lines it up one record at a time, or whatever you want to say. Okay, as soon as I hit OK, doesn't like that. Okay, so I'm going to put it not in the personal macro recorder, but I'm going to put clean data, Shift, whoops, and Shift P, and I'm going to put it in this workbook. Okay, as long as I have it somewhere, and it's not doing Shift P. Doesn't like it because it's already named. Alright, so now we're recording. Control X is the cut, and then I'm just going to use the arrows, and you have to be really careful with these arrows, because if I were to hit an up arrow or a left arrow now, it would crash. So I want to make sure I'm just carefully hitting my arrow keys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put it here. So I'm going to Control V, down arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you have to be really careful with this, because it's so easy to accidentally hit the key twice, and then the computer goes off the screen and crashes. Control X, Control V. Alright, now I'm going to go right back to the top, and then I'm going to hold Shift down and select 4 lines. These 4 lines I want to delete. So I'm going to hit Delete, Shift Cells Up. Then I'm going to hit 1 down arrow. That's where I want to start the recording for the next time I execute the macro. So I'm going to stop it here. Okay, and now if I do Control P, there, it works fine. Alright, so I'm going to pause this real quick and come right back. Okay, we've used the macro now. We've got everything in line here. So let's use Auto Fit to open it up. Go back up to the top. Okay, now we have some formatting issues to take care of. So the first one would be that we've got little a's. You can see here Marco Alman's name. We've got a little a. The way to fix that is to use the proper command. I'm going to use proper, and it will take the first letter of the names and capitalize them. So I use the proper command, copy it down to the bottom, but then I'm going to copy and paste values. Gotta be careful with that, because if you accidentally put proper back in here, it has nowhere to refer, and you've got problems. But now you can see we fixed that. Marco Alman is correct. So you can see here that we have to do the address as well. Same procedure. I'm going to use the proper command with a relative reference to the address. Then I'm going to copy that all the way to the bottom, and then copy the clean data and paste it on top by using paste special values. And now if I do Control tilde, you can see there's proper here, but not in my data. My data is all correct. Alright, we also have problems with our cities, but let's do that at a different time. So what I'm going to do now is insert some columns, and we're going to split this up into fields. So Shift and down, and then go to Data and Text to Columns. And we're going to use a delimiter here, which is the comma. So I take Tab off, and that is a nice, easy way to get us our cities. Now that the cities are separate, I can do them with the proper command. So I'll do proper, copy, autofill it down, copy the data, paste special. Alright, so I've got those correct. Now I need to split up my zip codes, but those are easily split. I don't need text to columns here. I can just say, starting at the right hand side of this cell, give me 5 characters, and that'll strip the zip off. So I'll copy that down, and then we'll do the same kind of thing. We're going to take the name of the 2-letter state abbreviation out of this. We know that it's blank 2-3 blank, and we want the second and third. So I'm going to do a mid, and my text is going to be here, and I'm going to start at the second character, and I'm going to take 2 characters. That should give me just the states. Copy that down. So now I'm going to copy the states, paste right over them. That was not smart. That's what backup is for. Okay. So before I do that, I'm going to copy these states, which have a formula in them. So in down, and oh, I could see problems in those states. Okay, so let's go back up to the top, and we're going to put our formula inside the upper command. Didn't see that the A was still a problem there. So now, okay, California is good. So now we're going to copy and then paste special on top of itself, copy, paste, and that changed this one because I forgot to do that. Okay, so there we go. That undo command comes in handy. So now I'm going to take the zip and do what I should have done before. So let's start over here. Shift in down, copy, paste special. So now it's independent, and I can take this one, shift in down, copy, paste special. And then I can take LM in and delete, and I've got my year of first business back. Okay, so now we have everything separate. I can delete those extra columns on that side. And let's put in some header. So I'm going to take, say, 1 through 7 rows. I'm going to insert new rows. And we're going to call this, we've got to put our headers in here. Name, address, city, state, zip code, and this is the first year of business. So let's see, first year I'll call it. And then here is birthday. Okay, probably widen that a bit. And we'll stick this. Okay, now with everything sorted like this, got a little extra room. Pull one out. Okay, now at this point I'm going to turn off my grid lines. I don't like working with grid lines. And we're going to take birthday and freeze the panes to the top and left. Actually, no, I don't want birthday for that. I'm going to undo that. So we'll unfreeze, and we'll freeze it here. That looks a little better. So now I'll always see my headings. Okay, next thing we need to do, we'll bring this out. take your headers, make sure you have the headers, and bring it all the way. Oops, I went way too far. Okay, so here we have all of our data selected. I'm going to do Control-Shift-F3, create names from the top row. And I'm going to check, make sure that Name Manager did it right. Okay, so we should have identical ranges from C all the way, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Good, we've got our ranges. Okay, now let's take a look before we move on at what we've got to do. Okay, the spinner button being what it is, we're going to make the down button move the cursor down the list. Alright, so we're going to have to reverse the order, and I'll show you that in just a sec here. So if I put a spin button, which is found in Developer, come on, Developer, Insert, fourth button over, which is a spin button, and let's just set it up here. Okay, and just for now I'm going to put A2 as the button that it controls to show you what I mean. We're not going to assign a macro, we're going to just link it with cell A2. Okay, so now when I hit up, that number in cell A2 is going to go up. When I hit down, that number is going to go down. But what I want to do here is I want my list to go, I want to go from record 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by hitting the down arrow, because that's how my eyes perceive it, even if the numbers aren't right. So we have to flip the number. The way to do that is to first take a count A of any of your text fields. Name is good. And that will tell us we have 196 of those fields. So now I go into Format Control and I say the maximum value I'm ever going to be with my spinner is 195. 195 is a good one because we'll set the current value to 195. It's going to be the difference of these two numbers, A1 minus A2, that gives us the record number. So when I hit down, my spin button will increment from 195 down to 0. And as it goes to 0, my other record will increase. So at some point that's going to be 0, and this is going to be record 196. So let me make sure. Minimum value 0. Okay. Now I'm going to take that number, A3, and I'm going to call it spin value, or record number, or whatever term you want to use. And now that I have a number here, I'm going to use that number to point to records. Now to make the records appear so that I know which one is selected, I'm going to take all of my data fields here without the column headings. We don't need those for this. And I'm going to use conditional formatting and a new rule to format, let's see, where cells that contain, I want my formula. Here we go. Format values where this formula is true. All right. If the row number of my row minus 7, because if you look here, let me it'll make sense in a bit. I have 7 blank lines before I get to my first line of data. So if I'm on row number 8, I see my first line of data. So if row minus 7 equals the spin value, then I'm on the line that I want to format. So I'll just make it opposite here. I'll take a bold italic white and a black fill. I think that's black. And now my record highlights what I'm looking at. So this number 2 corresponds to this record 2, line 2. and it goes all the way down to the bottom. So that's what I mean by placing a cursor and creating a conditional format rule, number 3, that turns the entire row of your data black background with bold and italic white font. Okay, let's go to number 4. We're going to build a text formula that returns a script that a phone center worker can use. The script should be hello, first name. Okay, so let's just we'll take the desired sentence there, and we'll just figure out, let's widen this a bit, and we're going to create a big merge cell for our text. Okay, what we're going to do now is build up that text sentence, and where I'd like you to be is able to just think your way through it as you do it. And of course you have your test that you could look at, so I can put this just off the screen here and refer to it. So hello, comma, first name. Now the first name you should remember how to get, because we're going to take the index function, name, and spin value. So now we've got the name, and I want to strip out starting at the left. So I'm going to come back here, say take the left from index, name, spin value, and we want to go to the space -1, the space between the first and the last name. So we're going to use find, double quote, space, double quote. So we're looking for a space within text. Okay, and that's the index, name, and spin value. And we're going to start at 1, so we don't need to put anything there. So that find command is going to return a number from which I subtract 1, close my left, and it should say hello, first name. Let's check it. There we go. Okay, so we've got our first name. So now let's just go back, put an and we're going to finish, so space, comma, thank you for being a customer these last. Okay, now I'm going to figure out how many years it's been. So we know the first year they did business, and I want to subtract that from this year. So to get this year, I'm going to use the year and the today function. That will return 2015 minus, and then we'll just return first year. I used F3 to get that paste name. Whoops. Let's be careful here. On the other side of the minus, I'm going to type index, first year, comma, spin value, these last 7. Good. Okay, so 7, 6, 9, 3. Okay. And we're going to do another and say 7 years. And then say we would like to extend a special discount on your next order. Good. Alright, so that's supposed to be in a font other than your default font. So pick your favorite font now and make it big enough for your testing people to look at. Okay, we've got a space there. Let's get rid of that space. Hello. We would like to expend a special discount on your next order. Alright, so now if I'm looking at my speed trial again, we've got the freeze frame. If your customer has not been doing business with the company for more than 3 years, have the dialog change to hello, we're grateful to have you as a new customer. Okay, so let's double check here. if that will ever happen. So we're looking for something that's 3 years makes a new customer. Oh, yep, 3 years is there. Okay, so now what we do is we have an if. And the if is going to be based on the same formula that we used to get the number of years of business. So I'm going to copy, paste it. No use typing that again. And we're going to say if it's less than or equal to 3, comma, do everything that we've just done. If not, then what we're going to do is the second dialog is hello, comma. Again, no reason why you have to work through all this again. So I'm just going to take that much of it. So hello, and if I look at my test, it says hello first name, comma, we are grateful to have you as a new customer and would like to offer you a special discount on your next order. Close, and then close the if statement. Let's check it. Okay, Kimmy right there was a 3-year, so it said we're grateful to have you as a new customer. We're like, okay. Jamie's new. Uh-oh, everybody's new. So we did that incorrectly. So let's double check why Shonda's getting it. So if year today is less than or equal to 3, less than or equal to 3. Okay. So it's doing it backwards. I'm going to pause, take a look, be right back. Okay, this is somewhat embarrassing, but let me show you how to find errors in your if statements. If you go up to Evaluate Formula, so we're going to look at Kimmy Haydad. Her first year is 2008. So she's been doing business with us for 7 years, but it's giving her a new customer dialog. So let's look at our test. Evaluate. Is 7 less than or equal to 3? False. So it goes to the false condition. The problem is the false condition was the new customer. So that was just a clumsy mistake. We'll take this and we'll change it by simply saying, is year to day greater than 4? If it's greater than 4, thank you for being a customer these last few years. Okay, so now it works, and only the 3-year people get new customer. That was a simple logic error. All right, what's next? Create a new column directly to the left of your first existing column of data. Name it Do Not Call. So I'm going to make it match all the others, and we'll do that by hitting, I want it to look like birthday. So if I hit the Format Painter and then I touch Do Not Call, it just shapes it right in exactly as where I started. So again, you have to have the format where you start, hit the brush, and then you can touch anything, it will go into that format. Now what we want is a macro that inserts the words Do Not Call directly to the left here. Alright, so we can do that easy. So we're going to say Developer, Record Macro, and we'll just call it Do Not Call. And when it executes, it's going to come here and say Do Not Call, exclamation mark, and center it. Make the text, actually let's make the fill red and the text yellow, and colors need bold to stand out. And once that's done, we can say stop recording. There's a button here at the bottom of the worksheet. You can't see the helpful message that comes up, but that's a stop button. Or I could go to Developer and hit that button. Okay, so now anywhere I'm at, I can hit macro, and this has a bunch of things here, but it would be do not call. Where's macro do not call? This workbook. There we go. Macro do not call. Run. And it turns it. So now I ask you to put a button. Now these numbers have to do with our spin, but we don't want our user to see them, so I can easily get them out of the way by turning them white. Now we don't see those buttons. They'll keep working. Everything will be fine. We're going to put buttons here. So I'm going to put a button here, and I'm going to make it my do not call button. And I'm going to, whoops, click out and edit text. So this would be do, all my kids are just laughing now, do not call, enter, and we're okay. Whew. Now it would be helpful to have another button that cleans up a cell. So we're going to start on a cell and say record macro, OK to call. And when I see that, I'm going to clear the contents and clear the fill and restore the automatic. And that's done. So I stop recording that. And I'm going to do a button for that one. And the button's going to say OK to call. Edit text. OK to call. So I've got a do not call and OK to call. Now, those are just buttons that turn on a certain function. And what we want is something more than that. We want to be able to change the line here to warn any users. So let's take the do not call range, and we're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the data and create a do not call range. I can do Control-Shift F3, or I could say just create. So now I've got a range there. And I'm going to now highlight all my data without the headings. And I'm going to give it a conditional format rule. Okay, so new rule, use a formula. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to look and we're going to see what is in B8. Okay, if B8 equals do not call, then we're going to turn our whole thing red with bold italic yellow. All right. Now, when I copy this, it's going to copy to every cell. So right here, B8 equals do not call is going to be perfectly fine. But when I copy it over to Kimmy, the relative reference turns to C8. So I want to freeze the B. I want to put a $sign in front of the B. And I'm okay shifting down rows because the answer is going to be on different rows, but it's always going to be in the B column. So there we go. So now we have the warnings that are stuck there. But there's another warning that we want, And in the event that we have a do not call, we want to create a warning up here so that these people don't get called. So we've got another if statement to look at. So let's just take this whole thing now. If index do not call, comma, spin value, I'm stuck in caps here, equals do not call. Okay, if it equals that, then we're going to have a true condition. This customer has requested that we, oh, I made it more complicated than that. I want you to put the name. So index, name, spin value. Okay, customer and space has requested that we, what did I say here? Do not call. That we do not call, done. If it's false, then go and do everything that we were doing before. We're going to need a new parenthesis or a new parenthesis at the end. So let's check this. The test is whether it's do not call. If it's do not call, the true is a simple do not call. Okay. So this comma here is not sending it where we want to send it. Do not call. True. Sometimes just type it over again. It doesn't like that. I wonder if I put an if there. If that'll do it. Nope, that doesn't do it. Okay, well, let's see what's going on. If it's false, it's just going to do that. That makes no sense. Ah, here it is. That double quote left index by itself. So now index is fine. And my true condition stops at the good. Glad that was easy. So I hit enter. Kimmy Haydad requested that we do not call. Now I can't get it to go red in my if statement. So now what I have to do is highlight this cell, go to conditional formatting, new rule, and if my do not call, so I'm going to look at my index do not call spin value. It's not letting me type. Okay. Start over. Cancel. Starting over. Manage rules. This worksheet. 2 rules. Okay, I like both of those. So I'm going to do in this worksheet a new rule. And it's going to say when do not call has a spin value and is equal to do not call. Okay. Then all we want is a simple format. We want our color to be red. Let's make it bold too. There we go. And that, I believe, is the last requirement that you need. So as we come down here, let's click. Okay, we've got 3 different sentences that we can see. Here is the new customer sentence. Here is the last 8-year sentence. And if Glennie gets mad at us, we can say, do not call. And she immediately changes to do not call. And if somebody is, again, happy with us, they're okay to call. And that would be speed trial number 2. So if you have any questions, come to my office. Let's talk about it. Good luck.